What's up, everyone, and welcome to another episode of VCC Live. My name is Kevin Skipper with co-host Jay DeLuco, Nick Green, and Matt Coley. All four of us are here this week, and all four of us were on time. It's iOS 11. That's what I believe.
That's it.
iOS 11 came out this week, and we're in sync. Hopefully you guys can hear me okay. Let me know in the comments right off the bat, please. If I need to make adjustments, I will. Last time the video was, I noticed my volume was a little low, so I'm sitting closer to the mic, turning up the gain and the stuff. So yeah, let me know if you can hear me okay, guys.
Sounds good to me.
Cool. So yeah, it's been a hectic few weeks here in Florida. We'll get to that when I tell you guys what I've been up to. But Jay, how's things been going, man?
Tiring as always. I don't know if I mentioned this the last time, but I've been having shoulder issues. So I'm dealing with those. And when you're in e-liquid manufacturing, those can have a direct impact on your day-to-day activities. So dealing with that, started the second round of the registration process with the FDA. Hope to be finalizing that early next week. Basically, the lab is shut down from now until then, until that's completed. But yeah, that's about it.
Cool. What's been going on with you, Matt?
I've been playing Mr. Mom for like the last couple of weeks. My son's mom's been in the hospital, and so just been doing mom stuff.
Oh, nice. I've been doing that for 4 years, so I get it.
Normally I have him 3 days a week usually, and so it's been more full time. And his school's like 30 minutes away, so I have to get up super early and nurse him and stuff too. No,
I feel like
one of those man boob things, like from Meet the Fockers, or what was it, Little Fockers? I'm just kidding.
What'd you say, Nick?
I feel like mom stuff is just dad stuff as well.
Well, yeah, but
like past a certain age, it's all the same.
You got to get a little more like with it. When dad stuff, I tell him to he falls. I tell him to rub some dirt in it and stuff like that. And so, but he's sensitive because his mom's gone, and so I'm having to channel my
emotions.
Inner mom.
Your inner mom. Yeah.
Have a good cry. No, she finally got out today, though. Thank God. So.
Yeah, good.
Oh, well, hopefully she's okay.
Yeah, she had a rough pregnancy, and they had preemie, and they didn't know if the baby was going to make it, and she had to stay in there with the baby, and so. But it all turned out okay.
Cool. Sorry about the replacement of Jay. I noticed that when he was talking, it's not perfectly square there either, guys. But you know what? We're imperfect people in an imperfect world, so.
Yeah. No refunds.
No refunds.
No refunds.
I noticed that Skype's doing this thing now that it didn't used to do, where when one of you guys talks or the microphone picks up, there's a blue bar on the bottom, and I used to capture the whole screen, and it was
I'm seeing that.
I only got Jay's blue bar, so it looked kind of weird, so I had to redo them. Nick, what's been going on, man? Been a few weeks.
Oh, yeah. Everything, man. Everything. A lot of the same. Shooting videos, editing videos. We're planning this big vape tour on the West Coast for next month, and that's the worst thing ever, is planning a big event.
Yeah,
I'm sure Kevin knows.
Yeah.
But it's going to be great. It's just a lot of work, leading up to it, and actually renting an RV and traveling, 4,000 miles up and down the West Coast just to visit vape shops and stuff. So it's going to be awesome, but that's been taking up, I don't know, 80% of my time.
Wow. Yeah.
For the last few months.
It is a lot of work, but once you actually get there and you start talking to the people and stuff, it's definitely worth it.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be great. You come to the events, and you actually have put together, you were working with the one out in Reno, right?
Yeah.
A couple of
Me and my buddy Brandon did VaporCon West 2 years in a row. Before that, we did the first two VaporCons in Virginia back in 2010 or 2011. I think it was. So
how close are you guys coming to Montana? Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh, no. I'm not really good with geography. What's Montana next to?
Well, Idaho.
Oh, we're gonna be in Boise.
Boise.
Yeah. We're going through Denver to Salt Lake to Boise to Seattle, and then
Are you
down.
gonna go to Spokane at all?
No, we're going from Seattle, actually technically Fife, Washington, but it's, you know, it's close to it's 15 minutes from Seattle basically. So, and then Portland, and then we're coming back down through Nevada, Carson City, Reno, and then to Vegas.
That'll be a blast. I grew up in Federal Way, which is like right next to Fife. It connects to Fife.
Cool. Oh, cool. Yeah, there's a shop up there, the Vaporium, I believe, is in Fife.
Yeah, I've heard of them before. Yeah.
Yeah, they're pumped. We're having a tour stop at their shop, and it's going to be awesome. I think it's going to be a really fun tour.
Max says not Tacoma. Well, you're only going to be about 30 minutes away, 30, 45 minutes.
Yeah.
So maybe you can make your way up to Fife.
Fife's right next to Tacoma. There's a lot of vape shops.
We can't stop in every city, in every state. You know, we post all the tour dates, and people are like, can't believe you're not coming to Texas. I can't believe you're not. And I was like, well, you know, this is 4 people self-funding and organizing the first tour ever in the vape industry. So we're going to try to do one, and if it works, we're going to do a lot more. So cool. That's how it works.
Different regions. You can do different regions and stuff. Yeah.
And just remind everyone again, what's the purpose of what are you guys doing it for?
We're doing it just because we're trying to get to places that haven't been shown a lot of vape love. I've never seen an event in Colorado. I've never seen an event in Utah. Never seen an event in Seattle. I've never seen, you know. So we're going to all these places that don't get a lot of, you know, vape love, community representation.
Yeah, Pacific Northwest is very tough because none of the convention centers will, like we discussed before, will allow vaping inside. They just don't allow it, and I haven't been able to find a place I would absolutely love to, but...
Yeah, well, and that's the thing is it's nearly impossible to throw a big scale event, even a medium scale event in Utah, just because of the laws and because it's Utah. And so there's vape shops in Utah, and I mean, one of the Vapor Craziness is there, Vape Affliction is there, so there's a lot of good shops in Utah. So we just wanted to stop at the shops and give the shops some love. You know, the shops are kind of the front lines of the whole industry. They're dealing directly with the customers and all the smokers coming in.
Absolutely.
And I think they need some love too. And they can't all go to ECC or these big events. And so, you know, we just want to spread the love around. It's going to take us 2 weeks. And that's why we're not traveling farther than we are because, you know, Ruby has a kid and Josh at home. Jess has a kid. Dwayne has a kid. Kent lives in, you know, Kansas City. And so we can't be gone from our homes that long. So 2 weeks is about the maximum that we can realistically be away. And so we're just doing a quick 2-week banger up and down the West Coast. And hopefully if it's good and successful, then we can do a bunch more. I would love to go to the Northeast. I would love to go to the Midwest.
We'd love to have you.
That would be great. Yeah. So hopefully it's cool. And hopefully a lot of people show up and we can pack these shops full of people and just, you know, be vapors and, you know, vlog it and get it out there. I don't know.
Sounds awesome.
Keep the culture going, man.
Yeah.
It'll be a fun experience.
And be safe too.
Road trips are fun.
Yeah. Shit. Well, when we go up in your area, Matt, we should just get you to come on the tour, come out for like a week and go from Montana, like, I don't know, right down the middle. What's in the middle? What's in the middle bits there? I never know the states.
Well, Boise's like South Idaho. Boise's probably the closest you're coming to me.
Yeah. Well,
and then I don't know. Yeah, let's talk about it because that'd be fun.
That would be fun. It'd be
Oregon's awesome. I grew up like going to Oregon every summer. It's such a beautiful place.
Yeah.
Well, cool. We appreciate everyone turning out in chat tonight. Thank you guys. Battery Mooch is in here. He's listening, not watching, because he's cooking, he said. So what's up, Mooch, and everyone else in chat? Thank you guys for joining us. Don't forget to hit that like button down there below. If you're so inclined, to maybe even smash it. Who knows? Could happen.
Just smash it.
Just smash the shit out of it. And don't forget to share the link as well when we get it posted up. I just got the link for the last episode posted yesterday because I forgot about it. After we did the show, the next day I decided we were leaving in the Tampa Bay area for Panama City, which was outside of the cone of probability for Irma. I'm glad we did. In retrospect, though, it ended up bypassing the Tampa area. Kind of not so much damage right around where we live, but all around us got trees down, power lines down, power out for a couple weeks and stuff like that. So we just got extremely lucky here. That's the only thing I can chalk it up to is luck, honestly.
That's crazy.
But so I didn't do it before I left, and then I looked yesterday and I was like, oh my God, I never shared it or updated it. So anyway, the link is out. And if you didn't catch last week's episode, make sure you check it out because it was a really good discussion. I went back and listened to parts of it when I was editing the information on it last night. And it was a really good discussion. So make sure you check that out.
Was I on last week?
It was 2 weeks ago. It was me, you, and Nick, and we talked about the blacklists and
yeah,
and all that stuff. It was a really good discussion. So, yeah, make sure you check that out. Tonight we have a couple of different things we're going to talk about, and I'll just go over those briefly, real quick for you. The vaping conventions, by the way, still working on VCC B2B for Chicago in December. It's a B2B only trade show, so if anyone's interested in sponsoring or exhibiting that, let me know. You can leave a message here or send me an email to admin@vapingcc.com. But anyway, there are 5, and I think we just added a 6th today vape conventions. And I'll go to the full screen right here so you can all see it. So vaping convention circuit, Vapors Carnival Expo, which is a relatively new event. They're going to be in the southeast area. National, well, for now, I think they have plans on going to other places as well. National Vape Expo, or NVE, the Vape Showcase, and the West Coast Vape Expo, and today just added the Midwest Vape Expo that are having the Cleveland event. We're all going to be collaborating, and we're going to eliminate clashes in event dates and locations, which will make it much better on the exhibitors. We're going to try to stick to 2 weeks either side of an event, so we're not having events the same weekend and in the same locations. Excuse me. And we're also going to be establishing standards for at least the people who are in the discussion group. We're going to be establishing standards for vape events in the U.S. so that we don't have exhibitors with any cartoon labels or anything that could be interpreted as directed towards minors or discouraging intellectual property theft and product images and stuff like that. And also just really having professional... wow, there's a lot of people liking it right now. I guess everyone just saw it, even though I shared it 6 or 7 hours ago. So what we're trying to do is basically have a standardized model. So the vape industry events, both trade shows and conventions, have something to go by so that we can promote the industry to keep it around for smokers for years and years to come, and not have bad events that get bad press coverage and bad pictures and bad videos that are shared everywhere. So yeah, that's the goal of these companies. And actually, there's going to be they're going to be meeting. I don't think I can make it, but I'll probably video conference in with them next month, and we'll get some more concrete standards.
Don't ban. Are you going to ban booth babes though?
We haven't really talked about that aspect yet. The main thing is labels, not encouraging or not promoting brands that are not doing things responsibly. That's going to be the key. But
you
overall,
ban those booth babes, I'm blacklisting you.
We haven't done that. We have still at VCC events there are promotional models and stuff, but we haven't had any like the really scantily clad since probably the first couple of events, and that was before I really knew any better. But,
should come up with standards for their clothing. You could be the measuring guy. Go around.
I have it in our agreements actually that they have to be dressed reasonably, and yeah, that was. I don't think Olga would appreciate that.
Yeah.
But basically, it's my discretion.
Maps get creepy.
Creepy.
And each organizer, I think, should have that at their discretion.
Stuck in Montana too long.
So, that's one thing we've been working on. I think it's pretty good. That I tried it a couple years ago with other event organizers, and it just didn't go anywhere. And these folks, it was actually this was initiated by the folks at the Vapors Carnival Expo, and they got us all together and got us all talking. And I think it's going to be a really good thing for the industry and for events in the industry. So yeah, that's one thing that we're going to talk about. Well, we just talked about it. I don't think we need to cover it anymore. I just wanted to share it with everyone. Unless you guys, do you guys have any input?
No, I think it's a great idea.
Yeah,
I think it's a really smart, great idea. Do you have any standards? Are you going to allow like Chinese companies that are cloners there?
We've only mainly to this point talked about the labeling and the marketing.
Okay.
The stuff that really we are hammered with by politicians and policymakers.
Mm-hmm.
Do
you see many cloners anymore though, like at the state shows?
Nearly.
Yeah, I guess like H Cigar.
There's a ton at ECC.
Was there?
There are Chinese companies now, completely cloning companies. Armageddon Manufacturing had their entire company cloned and we're losing sales to a company in China who is calling themselves Armageddon Manufacturing and cloning their products and selling them to the United States.
Jeez.
Wow. Yeah.
That's so crazy. Ridiculous.
Yeah.
I'm sure something like that will probably, come up in the course of conversations. But we have only had two calls on it so far. But we're moving in the right direction, and that's the point. We're all interested in seeing this industry thrive and be around for years to come. And so anyway, and then we had a couple other things to talk about. The September 30th deadline that's coming up in about 9 days. Yeah. Yep. Connecticut had a little bit of a win there, or actually a huge win in Connecticut with taxation. And then Jay found something he wanted to talk about. We have an article on it from CVS, the drugstore chain. So let's jump in real quick here first with the September 30th deadline. I have an article here from Carl Phillips. I don't know if he's still with CASA. I know he used to be with CASA, but anyway, it's on the Daily Vapor website, and I'll go to the full screen here so I can read the highlighted section. And so I'll post all the links for this stuff in the description so you guys can check it out either, on the replay when the video gets posted up, which will be hopefully tomorrow and not 2 weeks from now. But it says, looming September 30th deadline could turn vape shops into criminals. September 30th is a deadline for U.S. manufacturers of vape products to register their business and their products with the Food and Drug Administration. According to the FDA, manufacturers include mom-and-pop vape shops, since many such small businesses make products like refill liquid on-site. In July, FDA Commissioner Dr. Scott Gottlieb announced a 4-year delay of the near ban of vapor products, so vapor businesses now have until 2022 to work on obtaining expensive and uncertain FDA approval for each product. However, that welcome news did not change administrative deadlines. This includes a requirement that all vapor product manufacturers must register by the end of this month. This registration deadline has been extended several times, but so far Gottlieb has given no indication it will be extended further. In a recent article, Vaping 360's Jim McDonald suggested that, quote, hundreds or even thousands, unquote, of small manufacturers do not understand that they need to do this. So Jay, since you are the only one who's directly manufacturing e-liquid here, can you maybe explain what this what's required of people by September 30th and what they can do, I guess, because I don't know how you'd be in business and at this point, 9 days out, don't know that you have some requirements coming up. But maybe for those people who, for some reason, don't, what do they need to do? What's it about?
So it's essentially what you have to. Sorry, I'm getting some feedback. Hold on. Hey, okay, there we go. So essentially, what you need to do is the FDA has a portal that you can go to on their website where. First of all, you have to register as a business. Basically you can Google, FDA tobacco manufacturer registration, and you'll be able to find the site. So you have to register first of all as a business, and then you have to register each individual product expression. And I'm using the term expression specifically. It's not just every flavor that you have to register. It's every single part number / SKU that you produce. So if you produce a nicotine e-liquid in 3 milligram, 6 milligram, 12 milligram, 18 milligram, that's 4 SKUs. If you produce those in both 50/50 PGVG and 70/30 VGPG, times 2. So every single individual product that you manufacture has to be registered. And for companies like mine that have been around a long time and that, didn't really jump on the hype wagon, that can be thousands of part numbers that you have to register. The good news, it kind of remains to be seen whether it's good news or not at this point, and I'll get to that, is that there's an Excel template that you can download. So if you have all your products in an ERP system or even QuickBooks, you can export all your products out of QuickBooks and kind of stuff them into this Excel template, massage the data however you want to, and then upload it. So it should, in theory, speed up the process. I know during the previous deadline, there were people who were having problems with that upload process, and they found that they just had to input each SKU manually, which, you know, when you're talking about 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 SKUs, that can take a long time, because there are probably between 15 and 20 data points that they want for every single SKU. And QuickBooks, you know, a system like QuickBooks only allows you to, you know, add so much data pertaining to each individual product that you sell. So it will require some data massaging, some, you know, creativity on each person's part, each person entering the data. I'm giving myself a full week to do the process, full week part-time. If I can get the Excel spreadsheet to work, then it should only take me maybe 2 days to export and then, you know, massage the data however it needs to be massaged. So, you know, it's not ideal for me. I really don't like having to do it. I don't like being on any government database for any reason whatsoever, and this is more or less voluntary. So I don't like the fact that I have to do it, but I am doing it because I do want to be able to stay in business at least until you know, the drop dead date, which is the PMTA application date.
So someone asked a very good question in chat. They said, what will a vape company do if they create their business after these dates, say a year or so from now? Will they be penalized or not able to make a business?
No, you can still register, and you can register products. As far as my interpretation, I am not a lawyer, and I have not even consulted one as far as this goes. But my interpretation is that you can register and you can register products. That doesn't mean that they will be quote unquote legal for sale. You're just registering the products. Anything post August 8th, 2016, you're not allowed to sell on the market, period, until you go through a PMTA process.
Now, what if you're just buying product and then reselling it? You're not making your own liquid or anything at a vape shop. If
you're just a reseller, this doesn't apply to you.
Okay.
Well, because the Chinese stuff doesn't even.
That's what I was going to say. What if you're importing?
If you're importing, then it does apply to you.
Correct.
If you're responsible, if the manufacturer is not registered, you're going to be responsible.
Right, and if the manufacturer is outside of the U.S., there's no requirement for them to register. So as the importer, you in effect become the manufacturer.
Right. I heard that still though, like even if they're. I think it was on Dimitri's show, and maybe I misheard, but if it's made outside of the U.S., this whole system doesn't even apply as far as registering as a product.
That could be true too. A lot of that may come down to case law, though.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be very telling to see because they've already had like something like 2 million SKUs uploaded, and it's going to be very telling to see how they react after this is all done, and if they. Crack down on people.
I would anticipate that what they will probably do is they will go on social media. They'll go to look. They'll try to find the low hanging fruit, and the lowest hanging fruit will be people who are heavily involved in social media, have their branding posted everywhere, and they did not register.
Yeah,
that's the lowest hanging fruit. The second level of low hanging fruit would be people who register. And did not do it correctly, or their branding is way off, that kind of thing. The other thing I wanted to mention was that if there are certain shops that I sell to that I'll sell e-liquid in gallons, and they bottle it, and sometimes they rebrand it. They would also have to register. Because I have to register not only as a manufacturer for retail, even though I don't sell retail. The base is that I register as a manufacturer for retail, but you can also register in parallel. You can register as a manufacturer for another manufacturer. And if you're bottling or relabeling, you are considered a manufacturer.
Well, it's good information. Anyone have any questions? Susan said, can you turn up your mic, Kevin? I don't know. I just turned it up, and it's starting to peak a little bit. So hopefully you guys, does that sound any better?
Let me turn. I'm going to turn down my monitor a bit. Maybe we're getting some.
I don't know. I turned on. I mean, the feature that's in Skype is turned off, so I'm not really sure. Hopefully, you guys can hear me okay.
Registering doesn't cost any money.
$0.
Yeah, $0. Someone had asked, "What's the cost of this?" And registering with the FDA is not. Yeah. There's no money exchanging hands yet.
That's the PMTA that they're thinking of.
Yeah, that's the PMTA.
Well, even then, you're not paying the FDA for a PMTA application. You're paying to have all the testing done.
Yeah.
Right.
Because I could pay somebody to do all the registration process for me. That doesn't mean the FDA is charging me. That just means I'm too lazy to do the data entry.
Right.
Definitely very interested to see I don't think that they expected there to be this many SKUs registered.
Well, the last count I heard was upwards of 2 million already registered.
Yeah. Off the top of my head, I would anticipate that when it's all said and done, 25, and just talking about e-liquid manufacturers, I would anticipate that 25% of them will actually register.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see if it's enforced. If not, then it's Wild West. I mean,
well, it's business as usual.
Yeah.
I wouldn't bet against that being the case.
Yeah.
I definitely wouldn't. I mean, it's all doom and gloom now, but it's been doom and gloom before, and nothing has ever really happened. So, they'll most likely, they'll go, like I said, they'll go after the low hanging fruit. They'll make examples of some people, send out some cease and desists. And then there'll be a lot of cash businesses out there.
Do you think with the inundation that they're getting of registrants at this time that they're going to maybe sometime in the next week or 9 days extend it again?
Well, refresh my memory. How early was it the last time they extended? I seem to remember it was like a month.
I think it was like a month, and then they did 3 months with the lawsuit from Alabama.
Right. But it was a month before the due date that they extended it out. That's what I seem to remember, because I've always planned on just basically taking a week off the week before it was due, and that's when I would do it. And I didn't get close to that the last time they extended it out. It wouldn't surprise me if the system ends up going down, and they have to extend it out last minute. I assume I'm not the only one who's planning on waiting until the last minute to get it done, because frankly it gives me the heebie-jeebies to just go to the FDA. Hi, here I am. I don't like that feeling.
Didn't they revise it in the last week or two where you don't have to have a label for every?
Yep, they did. It's funny because they're obviously not thinking of my business model where I have basically the same exact label for 90% of my products. I have the same exact label. The only thing that changes is the flavor name, the nic strength, and and in some circumstances the PG/VG ratio. Yeah. So really, technically, I should be able to just submit one label. But the way that they posited it was that one label per flavor. And then they'd allow you to just sit on that one submission for each nic strength of that flavor. So, for me, I have, say, 100 flavors, so I'd have to submit 100 labels. Otherwise, I'd have to submit, if it was 3, 6, 12, and 18, it would be 400 labels.
I'm really hoping that this is a wake-up call to the FDA where they just see, we were not expecting millions of submissions.
Right. I really don't know what they're going to do about it, though. If the system does go down and they do extend it, it's not something that's going to go away. Is the point? They may extend it, they may not extend it. The point is, you have to do it. So if anyone's watching this and a vape shop that may not know about it, make sure you share the link when we get the replay up and tag them in this on social media, Facebook or whatever, so that they can check that out. You can even timestamp this conversation where it starts.
Yeah. And Rob in the chat, I'm going to make an example of you. He says that's better than that. What was proposed with each nic was a different PMTA. This does not apply to PMTA.
Yeah, this is just registration.
It's completely different.
This is just registration. PMTA, you will have to test every single iteration. You will have to test it, and it's thousands of dollars per test.
Yeah,
I saw some streamlined stuff that they have possible streamlined pathways and stuff, but that's still in the future. Right now, we're talking about just the registration, so we don't want to get those mixed up.
I feel like everybody should register. I mean, even if you're on the fence or you want to be black market, you should register. Not only because you should register, but it also is going to show the FDA. Yeah, like Matt said, there's a fuck ton of vape companies, man.
Yeah.
And the FDA needs to know how many people this is affecting.
Right. All right. Well, any other questions in the chat? I haven't been going through the comments. Let me look back real quick and see if anyone's got any questions. If you have any questions, or if you are a vape shop or a manufacturer and you have any questions, throw them in there. We'll see if we can answer them for you.
Zulu asks, what if people just submit imaginary labels or products just to clog the system?
I think we want to probably try to at least abide by the rules at this point. We want to be taken seriously as an industry. So
that is also a very tedious and time-consuming prank.
Right.
Spent the last 2 months pranking the FDA.
Yeah.
And Scott asks, what's this costing me in time? I don't know. I can't give exact figures. I'm anticipating probably 40 hours on the high side. But I'm not like your typical, hyped up juice brand. The typical hyped up juice brand has like 4 or 5 flavors. I've got upwards of, in active circulation, probably 50 to 70 flavors in all the different nic strengths, different PG/VG ratios. But I follow the old school e-liquid model where everything's custom, everything's done to the customer's specifications. So I'm definitely not the typical, but still. You're still talking about millions of submissions. We've already had 2 million, as we've already said.
Yeah.
I would anticipate easily another 2 million over the next 7 days.
Yeah, absolutely.
But as a data analyst, I have to be honest and say 4 million records isn't that much data. It really isn't. Not as far as hardware and software is concerned. It's not that much data. Now, what will they be able to do with it is another question. Yeah. This is uncharted territory for both them and us. How they're going to utilize this data is your guess is as good as mine.
And Vic says in chat, yet over here in the UK, we are getting closer and closer to acceptance. Public Health England is now endorsing e-cigs as a quit aid, and Stoptober, quote unquote, NHS ran Stop Smoking Month has also endorsed it. Yeah, I've seen a couple articles on that this week. Hopefully we get there, Vic. Hopefully we do. And without some of the onerous, the TPD is pretty shitty in my opinion, but at least vaping is still around. So, so that pretty much covers, unless Matt or Nick, you have anything you want to add on registration? I think Jay did a pretty good job explaining it.
No, yeah, he did good.
Be aware that you have 9 days, ladies and gentlemen. 9 days as of this airing. I mean, if you're watching this on Monday, you have less time. If you're watching this after September 30th, you're pretty much screwed. That's the long and short of it. All right, cool. So the next thing we had to talk about was Connecticut. I don't know if anyone saw this, but Connecticut is in some pretty heavy financial difficulties. Shocker there. And I guess their governor and some other folks up there were proposing a 75% tax on e-cigarettes and vapor products. And Connecticut's SFATA chapter and CASA got involved and rallied the troops, and they were able to get that e-cigarette tax dropped after, in this article that I'm reading. I'm not going to flip over to full screen for this, but I'll post a link to it. It just has a little snippet that says, plans to tax e-cigarettes were dropped after an outcry by the vaping industry that operates out of retail shops across the state. So basically, the noise that Connecticut's SFATA chapter made and CASA and the consumers there in Connecticut paid off. The budget's not finalized yet, so I guess I have to wait and see. Hopefully it won't be added back in at some later date like they typically want to do. And 2 o'clock in the morning they change the budget and add shit back into it. But for now it looks like the efforts there in Connecticut work. So kudos to those folks in Connecticut. Have you heard anything else about that, Jay? And since it's kind of close to where you are.
I really haven't. I guess I'm kind of ashamed to say, but because it is close to home, and I do have partnerships with people in Connecticut. My understanding was that they had proposed this. It basically not really died in committee the way it would in Massachusetts, but basically it was couched. So they're not completely out of the woods yet, but everything's been, the can has been kicked down the road.
I would say until you see a final version of the budget that's signed into law by the governor.
Exactly.
Then you can breathe a sigh of relief. But it looks like right now they dodged a bullet.
Yeah. And I think it's important to note that, just by putting up a fight, you've prevented yourself from becoming that low-hanging fruit that they can go after.
I saw another article too that was comparing and contrasting between Pennsylvania and Connecticut, and it was saying about how, I guess it was brought up to those folks in Connecticut, you can tax it, but look what happened in PA. They did 40%, not even 75%. They did 40%, and they lost 25%, or about 100 out of the 400 vape shops in Pennsylvania went out of business with no plans to reopen. So if that's the kind of business culture you want to create in Connecticut, then start taxing things, and you're going to start losing jobs and start losing businesses from the state of Connecticut. So, Nick or Matt, you guys heard anything about that, or anything else going on in any other states that you guys have heard about? Anything going on in Cali or Montana or anywhere else?
I know of something going on in Mississippi right now. There's a usage ban in Mississippi. I've been on the Connecticut, I have been emailing back and forth with this guy, Dominic, he's one of the guys who organized the protest at the Capitol, the peaceful protest at the Capitol. I know he had reached out to Jennifer Berger Coleman as well regarding it. And they had a protest, and they did everything right. They actually got permits and called the police and talked to the security and made sure everything was okay. And they had a vapeless, peaceful protest on the Capitol building, anti-tax, pro-vaping kind of thing, which I think is really cool. I keep hearing conflicting reports from everybody about what's happening in Connecticut. A lot of people are telling me that it's still on the table because the governor wants the vape tax. And
the news articles I've read all were within the last couple of days. It's not back in yet, so I haven't seen anything where it's been added back in yet. I do know that the current version of the budget that is being proposed basically was proposed by the Republicans, and a few Democrats actually swing over to the Republican side to make it happen. The governor's already said that he would veto it if it comes to his desk. So that's why I say until you see something final signed by the governor, don't rest easy there.
How does the governor get away with saying that? I'm going to veto it anyway. Like no matter what you guys, no matter what you come up with.
That's the way it works. When you have a veto power for the executive, that's the way it works. I
feel like nobody should have that much power.
Well, then there's also an override of the veto too. So it would take a supermajority of the legislature to override his veto, which is possible.
Yeah, it's like 2/3, I think.
But if they're struggling to get a couple of Democrats to come over to their side to pass that budget, I doubt very seriously they're going to get a supermajority to override a veto. So they have Connecticut sounds like they're in a lot of financial trouble.
Yeah.
So hopefully they don't take it out on people who are choosing to vape instead of smoke combustible tobacco. So,
right.
And Rob Scanlon says New Hampshire welcomes your e-liquid companies.
Exactly.
And you know what? If I had my wish, because I got into this industry kicking and screaming, I did not want to enter the industry officially. And that was one of the things that I thought about was, why would I want to open a small business in a state like Massachusetts? Any small business in Massachusetts, the government is very antagonistic to small business here. Add on top of that the politics of nicotine, forget it. So I always thought, if I ever do it, I should do it in New Hampshire. It's only 10 miles away from me. And that may still be on the table. I don't know.
You should start making THC concentrates and stuff, though. Didn't they just legalize it in Massachusetts?
Yeah, that's all legal, but
that's going to be the honey hole there.
Well, I did do a batch.
Honey hole.
I did do a batch of CBD a while back. Unfortunately, it's not so much like fish. It's not like shooting fish in the barrel the way e-liquid is.
Yeah, no.
The margins aren't there. It's much more difficult to manufacture. The volume, it's nowhere near what you get with e-liquid. People don't vape 30 mils of CBD in a day.
It's crazy how expensive it is. I've been using it lately for my back, and I love it.
Yeah.
but
yeah, it works.
So expensive.
It works, but it's extremely expensive and difficult to manufacture, and the margins just aren't there. You have to have a national marketing campaign to really do any sort of damage in the market.
Michael Scoobage, I don't know how you say your last name, Michael. Sorry. He says you guys are doing good work. Thank you. We appreciate you tuning in and watching. And I'll reiterate really quickly here. Make sure you hit that like button down below. There's a lot more watching than there are likes.
Smash
that.
Smash. Like button.
Yeah. Bend it over and smash it.
Yeah. Sidewalk slam that fucking like button.
And so the last thing we had to talk about, Jay, I'll let you talk about it, but I'll read it real quick and I'll again post the link. I'm not going to switch over it. There's something from the University of Rhode Island to pursue a 100% tobacco-free campus. The URI Tobacco-Free Campus Committee, which has representation from all university sectors, is headed by Ellen Reynolds, Director of URI Health Services, and Deborah Reeb, Professor and Associate Dean of the College of Health Sciences. The committee has met once to begin developing strategies and a plan for the program. The Tobacco-Free Initiative will lead to a campus prohibition of cigarettes, cigars, and all smokeless tobacco products. Jay, tell us what prompted you to send me that article. And
so it came across my feed a few times this morning, and essentially what people are calling for. People are calling for a boycott of CVS, which apparently isn't a national. Apparently, that's not a national chain because I had a hard time communicating that with everybody else on the show. It's a drugstore chain that's very popular here at least in the Northeast.
Southeast as well.
They donated $20,000 to this campaign, and I think last year they removed all nicotine products from their shelves. Basically everything excluding the big pharma stuff, the gum, the patch, all the FDA approved crap that doesn't work. They've banned everything, and this is just kind of them, extending that olive branch to the anti-tobacco crowd. So people are calling for a boycott. I'm not a huge fan of boycotts in general, because if I boycotted every business that didn't agree with every stance I had, I wouldn't be able to shop anywhere. I'm a big proponent of the Second Amendment, concealed carry, all that stuff. There are so many chains out there that I love. Buffalo Wild Wings doesn't allow concealed carry on their properties.
They don't allow vaping either.
They don't allow. Well, but at this point, most national chains don't allow vaping. Most of them don't.
There's one right by our house, 5 minutes away, at Buffalo Wild Wings, and you can't even vape on the outside open air.
Yeah, and it's the same for Lowe's.
It's ridiculous.
And that's where I do. That's where
it's the
I
same
do
for California.
All my hardware shopping, I do at Lowe's, and they don't allow vaping even in the parking lot. Now, I've seen people vaping in the parking lot. It doesn't stop anybody. But they technically don't allow it. Am I gonna boycott all these places? No. But you know what? If I have a choice at this point to shop at CVS or go somewhere else for, I don't know, Hallmark cards or something, I'll go somewhere else.
Yeah, and then I think it also sets a bad precedent for other college campuses across the country. What about people who have been smoking since they were 13 or 14 and finally quit when they got to college because they became more mature and more educated and decided, hey, you know what, I want to try vaping instead of smoking cigarettes.
It's the same old argument we've been using for years, but these folks aren't listening, especially college campuses. You can't expect them to just all of a sudden say, hey, you know what, tobacco harm reduction, that must be a wonderful thing. No, because the politics of it prevent them from saying things like that.
Right.
So I don't necessarily, I do blame them, but I understand the drive behind what they're doing, and it's completely 100% politically motivated. Has nothing to do with science, has nothing to do with facts. It's completely 100% politically motivated. So I understand where they're coming from. And I'd say I'm going to boycott all universities, but you know what? I already finished college. I'm done. So
yeah.
Jennifer Berger Coleman says California State University campuses all just went smoke and vape free 2 weeks ago. I work at Sac State and it's dumb. They want people to go pick up toothpicks and shit in the pharmacy to quit. Yeah.
But what if you stab yourself in the eye with a toothpick? If it saves just one eye,
I tell you, man,
worth it.
Universities like that are for-profit organizations, aren't they? I mean, that's not taxpayer funded.
Well, it depends on the university.
Subsidized.
Oh yeah, they're subsidized by the government.
That's the thing. They're all federal. 98% of all universities are federally subsidized.
Yeah.
They're kind of quasi-public-private organizations.
That's gray. That's a gray area right there.
Yeah. All right, well, that's the main issues we had scheduled to talk about for tonight. So we have about 10, 15 minutes left. If you guys have any questions, chat, or anything you want to talk about, or we can talk about anything. We can talk about Nickelback again, how great they are.
What? No, not going to talk about Nickelback.
Hey, Foo Fighters just released a new album, didn't they?
Yes, it's amazing.
Anybody hear it yet? Is it good?
It's unbelievable.
They have yet to release.
No wrong.
That's exactly how I feel, man. They cannot release a dud.
I don't know how they keep getting better. Yeah. I don't even know. They're just amazing.
I can't wait to listen to it. I've been on a Wicked Tom Petty kick lately, though. Like
Wicked Tom Petty kick.
Wicked Tom Petty kick.
Wicked.
Is that
I even watched the. There was a 4-hour-long documentary on Prime Video that I watched the other night. I was up until like 3 a.m. watching it. I'm like, I have to work tomorrow, but I could not fucking take my eyes off the screen.
Well, now I've got to check out this new Foo Fighters album. I've heard about it for the past 2 days.
So
and I haven't
good.
heard it yet.
The Sky is a Neighborhood is an unbelievable song. That was the single off of the album, and
that was a single.
Yeah, it's got like 8,000 plays on my Spotify right now. I've listened to it so many fucking times. It's so good.
It's crazy that Dave Grohl's been able to stay relevant since freaking 90s, early 90s.
Yeah.
Yep.
Talented bastard.
Oh yeah, we do have a hepatitis outbreak happening in San Diego right now.
Really?
Yeah, hepatitis A. What's the other kinds?
What do you cover for that? Is it your mouth or your anus?
You're just supposed to wash your hands and leave your shoes outside your apartment.
Wow.
For now. And it's because of the plastic bag ban. That's what caused all of this. Is the California banned plastic bags, and now the huge homeless population we have in San Diego have no place to shit. They used to shit. They used to shit in plastic bags and throw it away, and everything was fine. But now that there's no plastic bags anymore, the homeless are just shitting on the ground. And people are tracking it all over the city on their shoes, on the dog's paws.
Talk about unintended consequences.
Yeah, like how does that sound?
The city, San Diego, had to spend some ridiculous amount of money to power wash all of the sidewalks in the gas lamp district, where all the homeless are, basically in East Village and Gaslamp, and they're setting up temporary hand washing stations and porta potties so that the homeless have a place to shit.
I almost want to just buy a bunch of plastic bags up here and go down there and hand them out to the homeless.
I was going to say, here's an idea. How about just reverse the ban on plastic bags?
Yeah.
Really?
Wow.
That would entail them admitting that they were wrong.
Yes.
There are some people who are joining us, looks like kind of late. So, yeah, you guys have missed the relevant vaping information portion of the show. So, go back and watch the replay.
Yeah, usually around this time, 6:50, we talk about dicks, shit.
Yeah.
Shit
right towards
bags.
the show is when things get awesome.
Yeah.
Talk about the Foo Fighters, apparently. So good.
Rob says, no, Kevin, but the environment. Yeah. Okay.
Plastic bags.
It's times like these that I am glad that I live in Montana.
Hey, you just said it's times like these.
That's we had a scary situation up here though. Last week some guy hacked one of the schools up here and got a bunch of phone numbers and started threatening the principal and said that they were going to do all these crazy things, and so they closed the schools down over here for like 4 days, and everyone was freaking, and it's like, of course, if somebody's threatening it, it's not going to happen. It was a troll, and he was trying to get money out of a lot of these people he was messaging and reaching out to. Like he got people's medical records, and he was threatening them with that. And it turned out there's some like big hacker group, like they did something to Netflix a couple months ago. Like they're not in this country, but the whole valley here was just like, they'd never dealt with anything like this before. So people think, The end is coming. Gonna kill all our children.
Apparently, the end of the world is Saturday. So if we don't make it next week, you guys all know why.
Yeah, Tony was talking about that earlier tonight. I didn't hear anything about it. I'm like, which one is this now?
Yeah, it's totally iOS 11. I blame it on iOS 11. It came out the same week that the world's ending. That's not a coincidence.
True. iOS 11 is pretty great. Does everybody use iPhones here, or is there any?
No, I'm an
It's
Android.
good for iPad too.
I'm Droid.
Droid.
Well, iOS 11 is pretty rad.
For me to poop on.
Let's see. There was Scott Runyon says, "You've earned my like." Thank you very much, Scott. We appreciate each and every like.
Yeah. Welcome.
We should have a shitbag segment every week.
A shitbag segment. Shitbags.
Tune in next week, and Nick's going to update you guys all on what's happening with the shitty situation in San Diego.
Shitbag. It's kind of scary. I mean, there's some 400 or 500 people hospitalized right now for hepatitis.
Yeah, don't touch your face. Stop touching your face.
I wash my hands since I've been inside. It's okay. And I wash my dog's paws every time we take a walk around the block. And I leave my shoes outside. I'm taking it pretty seriously. I don't want fucking hepatitis because the homeless are not being able to shit in bags anymore.
What's that scene in oh shit, what's the movie? Kingpin. Run, everybody! There's a shit cloud coming.
Yeah.
I think I could smell it.
So long since I've seen that movie.
I've never seen it, believe it or not.
Kingpin's
I'll have to check it out.
Great. Kingpin's great.
All right, cool. Well, we'll wrap up a few minutes early. Jay, any last thoughts? Final closing, now that the end is near?
The homeless get swifty.
I'm all about shitbags at this point.
It's all about shitbags. Sounds like you have your next week planned out for you with registration. So,
I may or may not be available for the show next week. I'll just throw that out there.
May or may not be a world. So
that's
okay.
Yeah, world ending by then.
Well, there will be a world.
Matt, what's going on with you? Anything coming up that you want to tell everyone about? You said you want to do some more live videos on your YouTube, or what's going on with that?
Oh, yeah, I'm trying to get prep for stuff like that, but I don't know when it'll happen. I like to put stuff off. Got a green screen and kind of a cool setup for live, but I don't know when I'm going to do it.
Yep.
Nick, anything?
I'm a procrastinator, so like 2019.
Yeah. Tour. I'm shooting my videos in 4K now. I just bought some expensive LED lighting and some new microphones and some new tripods. I'm taking it up. I'm going to the next level.
Attaboy.
Good lighting, and I want 4K, and it's just really difficult because I don't really know what I'm doing.
What's your upload speed?
I don't know, the bottom, the slowest.
That's been my problem is I've been shooting in 4K and but if they're like over 10 minutes, I usually upload in 1080 because it takes like 3 hours if I upload it in 4K.
Yeah, I uploaded a full 4K, hour-and-a-half long vlog, and it took all night. I started uploading it at 6, and then it took all night long.
I just got a 4K TV literally, I think, 2 weeks ago, and there is some 4K content like on Netflix and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a 60-inch TV. I can't tell the freaking difference.
Well,
it depends on what you're. I mean, a lot of the reason people will shoot in 4K too isn't just because of the resolution, but it's like the crop. You know, they can crop in and make it look like there's more than one camera. But yeah, it depends on the situation. I can definitely tell a difference, like on my iMac, if I'm watching a 4K video compared to a 1080. But like on our 4K TV, it's a slight difference.
Yeah.
I can notice more as I just got an HDR TV, and you can definitely notice the HDR more than the 4K resolution.
Okay.
My first foray into 4K video was sad. The vlog doesn't look great, but I wanted it to. It's because I didn't have any of my good lighting yet. I was just trying to wing it and use whatever I had. So there's some junky looking parts, but I got some new lighting, so hopefully everything's going to look awesome soon.
Yeah,
maybe next week. Yeah. I got these two big LED panels that are both basically the sun in my office.
Nice.
It's unreal how bright they are. That's great.
So if the sun does
it's really nice using LEDs too because they don't get hot. So you can have them like here, and they don't get hot like a fluorescent would.
Yeah. Do you use full white lighting, or do you have any warmth or yellow in yours?
No, I use the daylight. Like it's like 5600K. I like it better than using like a tungsten look.
Right.
And then I just, dial in my white balance to be whatever my lights are, So my lights are 5600K, so I always set instead of doing auto white balance.
Right. Yeah.
Well, not only did you guys learn about hepatitis A, but you also got some pointers on starting a YouTube channel in 4K.
Yeah, definitely.
This show covers the gamut. VCCLive covers the gamut.
I don't know about you guys, but tomorrow I'm calling my doctor. I'm going to get the HPV vaccine.
Okay.
They say most of like our generation has it. It's dormant.
Nick, that's only for women.
Oh. Okay.
We're not going to judge you, Jay. I mean, if that's what you want to do, then you're still our friend.
Yeah. I guess.
All right, guys. We appreciate you tuning in. Hope you learned something, at least for the first 45 minutes of the video. Don't forget to hit the like button down below there and share the link once we get it up on the Facebook page. If my face looked kind of like I was staring off into space the last few minutes, is because I was trying to catch up on comments. So sorry about that.
Yeah, it's okay.
We'll try to be back next week. We'll let you know. Keep you posted in the VCCLive Facebook page. So if you're not a member there, make sure you join that. And yeah, we'll see you guys all hopefully next Thursday, but we'll keep you in tune. Gonna go check out this Foo Fighters album, and yeah, have a great weekend, have a great week, and remember, you don't have to do everything, but you do have to do something. Get involved.
Wear a hat.
Yeah.
I just realized I was the only one not wearing a hat.